Hello, sisters. This is Monique, and I am here to speak about the full moon that will be happening Saturday, April 12th, and it's coming in at 8:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So I really wanted to do this video to give you time to prepare for this full moon. If you're in Miami, you can, go outside. The moon will be rising around 7:37 p.m. and it's going to be big and it's going to be bright. And I want you to think about that as you think about all that I'm going to share with you about the full moon. I do have one minor disclaimer. I had a little time today to be on social media. I don't have much time anymore. And I saw a lot of stuff about the full moon, and there was this kind of almost, I don't want to say scared tactic, but there was definitely this energy of there's this ominous feeling to this moon. And that's why I really wanted to say yes to Claudia's invitation to talk about this moon, because I want that not to be the way that you approach this moon. Every full moon is packed with potential. It is packed with wisdom and insight that we should have a special level of clarity about. That's the fullness of the moon. We're coming into the fullness of the wisdom. And there is quite a lot of activity with this new moon. So there is quite a lot of wisdom for us to take in, first to be aware of, second to take in, and then third to integrate into our life. So let's begin. As I said, it's going to be here at 8:22 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will arrive at 23 degrees Libra. Libra is an air sign, and it is a cardinal sign. And air signs are about communication, always about communication. And cardinal signs, this is the way that the planet operates. It's modus operandi, so to speak. And cardinal signs are about getting something started. So when we're talking about an air sign that is cardinal, we're talking about an opportunity to start our way of communication in a new way. So think about that as the fundamental energy of this new moon, a new start in how we communicate. Specifically about what? Well, Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus is the planet of relationship. So we are going to start a new way of communication in our relationships. Right now, Venus is in Pisces, and this is her favorite place to be. This is where she's exalted, where she feels like the queen that she is. So it's a very good placement. Even though she is in retrograde, she's still in the best position that she could be. And so with Venus in Pisces, there's this kind of, Pisces is very dreamy. There's this kind of dreamy aspect about relationships. And another way of thinking about it, if we're going to put it all together, is that we want to take this opportunity to start to dream bigger about how we are going to start a new way of communication in relationships. So Venus will be in Pisces until about the end of the month. Then she's going to go back into Aries. And when she's in Aries, she's really more prepared to be bold about how she communicates in relationships. She's willing to, blaze a trail and to be just a little bit more adventurous in how she communicates in relationships. But most importantly, she's ready to look at the most important relationship she has, which is relationship to self. So take this period of her being in her exalted position in Pisces, and take these next few weeks to dream about how to really start a new communication in your relationship with yourself. And that's it. So there are going to be some, with that said, I want you to look for what shows up around this full moon, particularly around what is your karmic patterns. And the reason I'm saying this is because this full moon, typically in full moons, you have the sun and the moon opposite each other in the skies. And the sun is going to be in Aries, while the moon will be in Libra. So the sun is going to be standing right next to Chiron. And Chiron is our wounded healer. I would recommend highly that you read the myth of Chiron. He was good friends with Hercules, and when Hercules was doing one of his 12 labors, Chiron helped him out, and while he was helping him out, he injured himself with a poison arrow. Now, he was a demigod, so he had, immortality, and so it was this condition of living forever with this wound. And for us, it's this karmic wound, one patterns that we've taken from lifetimes to lifetimes, that we're getting an opportunity now to have a little bit more clarity in. And the reason I say that is because it's standing next to the sun. The sun is what gives us light around whatever it's standing next to, and it's standing next to our karmic wounds. So think about what shows up. Look at what shows up. The sun is going to help you to see what shows up with this karmic wounding, this ancestral patterning, or this karmic patterning. We're going to get a chance to see it. Now, keep in mind that Chiron was also a teacher, and he was also a healer. So this karmic wound, and this is why I said, when I see everything that's going on social media, I want to really be clear that it's not meant for you to suffer. It's meant for you to be aware of and see what you can grow from that information, and see where you can teach yourself a better way, a new start in communicating in this relationship that you have with self, which is, of course, reflected in the relationship that you have with others. With that said, one of the things I want you to look out for is if there is anything that's showing up in the physical body. Again, the moon is very feminine. The moon is going to be ruled by Venus, which is also very feminine. The moon is going to be in a square with Mars, that is in Cancer, which is also a very feminine sign. So I want you to look at what shows up in your physical body around any of the feminine parts of your body. So your reproductive your organs, your breast, your menstrual cycles, anything that is really has to do with our feminine physical expressions. Also look at our hands. I know that we don't traditionally look at the hands with Libra, but Libra is about what we create, the art that we create, and usually we are using our hands to do that. And also, it's non-traditional, but also think about Libra as communication. So anything that has to do with communication. Now, there are other planets that are more directly related to things like the nervous system, But I think with all that's going on now, it's important to look at anything in the body that has this capacity to communicate. And so see what's showing up in the body, because that's going to be very much around this karmic wounding, and we're getting clarity or insight from the sun sitting next to Chiron. So let's see. We talked about Chiron across from the moon sitting next to the sun. We talked about the moon being in a square to Mars in Cancer. There is one more special connection here, and that is that the moon will also be standing next to a very special fixed star. And this fixed star will be the thing that will give us a sense that, everything is as it should be, and we're going to come out stronger, and we're going to come out with a greater sense of wisdom, and we're going to really learn from this experience, and we're going to be able to move forward. And with that, I confidently say that because shortly after the moon becomes full, Venus does go direct. So she will be going direct. I think it's less than an hour after the moon becomes full. So there will be this kind of forward moving, or this kind of sense of fluidity that you will feel. So keep that in mind. And now, with all of that said, the most important part is to see how this shows up for you. So the first thing that you can do is, again, I say these steps every time I do this video, and it's because I really want you to be a master of your how should I say that? I want you to look at your chart, and even if you're not an astrologer, I want you to really tune into the mastery that you have created when you chose to show up on this plane at this time, at a specific location, for a specific purpose. So think of this as a way for you to continually hone and co-create your destiny. So look at your chart, and the first thing to see is, what house do you find Libra? And I don't mean necessarily planets, I just mean what house is Libra ruling in your chart. So if you have Libra ruling your fourth house, which is your house of home, maybe there is a need to move into a new house. Maybe that house will be something more aesthetically pleasing. Maybe it's time for you to declutter and get rid of anything that takes away from that beauty. Maybe it's time to renovate your house. If it's hitting your seventh house of relationships, maybe it's time for you to reconsider how you show up in relationships. Maybe there is a bigger dream to have in relationships. Maybe there's a dream coming true with relationships. Maybe if it's in your 10th house, maybe there is something new that's coming through in your career. Maybe there's a woman or a female mentor or someone there to support you. So look at what house you will find Venus. I'm sorry. Look at what house will be ruled by Libra in your chart. Then when you find that house, see if there's anything in the house, any planets. So if there's a planet in the house, look at that planet and find out what that planet's about. So for example, if you have Mars in Libra, then maybe there is some action that you need to take in response to relationships, if it's in the 10th house, in your career field. Um, so, so see what's going on in the house that Libra rules. The other thing that I want you to look at that's important is see what's going on the opposite end of your chart. See what's going on. Is there anything that's going on in Aries, close to the sun at 23 degrees in your chart? Because that means there's going to be a little push. You know, oppositions create external pushes. So there's going to be a little push for you to do something differently, or to step up, level up in a way. So look at what you have going on in the house of Libra in your chart. You can also look to see what's going on in the house of Aries in your chart. Those two houses will be lit up. And the house that has the other cardinal signs will also be activated. So wherever you see Cancer as well as Capricorn, those houses will also be highlighted. Okay, so those are the houses that will tell you what area of your life is going to be most impacted by this full moon. Now, it's time to think about how intensely you will be impacted, because not everybody has the same level of intensity with every moon phase. So, what makes it different from one person to the next? And what makes it different is the degree that your house or the planets in your house are to the degree of the full moon. Now, this varies from astrologer to astrologer. So, I would recommend that you look at your chart, and if on the cusp of the house that rules Libra, if that's close to 23 degrees, and let's say anywhere from 20 degrees to 26 degrees Libra, you will feel it more intensely than someone who is not within that range. So again, the full moon will be 23 degrees. So let's give and take 3 degrees on either side. So let's say 20 degrees all the way to 26 degrees. If you're within that range, or as we say in astrology, that orb, then you will have a greater impact than other people. Okay, and that's the same for if you have a planet in that house. If you have a planet in Libra that is close to 23 degrees, then you will also feel it very intensely. And so that's what I would like for you to do. So what I would like to share is that I'm going to post this video today, which is Friday, giving you 24 hours, lots of time to prepare for this very big and bright and auspicious full moon. I want you to think about Venus. Venus is very much about the feminine and the ritual of femininity. So anything to do with, being close to the water, or essential oils, or music, or art. Think about spending time in those spaces, and take your journal with you and reflect. As we're doing this dreaming big dreams about how we relate and relationships, think about what you're ready to release. So, for example, if you find that Venus is on your 4th house, think about what you would like to release in your home, the home situation, And once you've identified that, then start to dream, because remember Venus is in Pisces. Start to take some time, start to take some time and start to dream a little bit bigger as to what that ultimate dream is for you when it comes to home and house. You know, the other quality about Libra is that it's about justice, it's about what is fair. And a lot of that has to do with, um, you know, what you feel that you are, what's worthy, what your worth is. Look, my tongue is wrapping around that word. So, clearly this is something that I have to look at for myself. But think about what is this sense of balance that you have an opportunity to bring into this moment, so that there's a sense of justice and fairness and worthiness for you in that area of your life. It might mean that you have to let something go. It might mean that you need to let someone go. It might mean that you have to acknowledge the dream that you are the most important relationship in your life. Acknowledge that and dream of how you can create this sense of balance for you, and this sense of love and all the beautiful things that Venus brings into our lives. When you're out tomorrow watching the moon rise, Venus will be there. She'll be right there in the sky. She'll be there in the morning. She is out and looking to be seen. So look for her. She has gone through her journey. She has gone through the underworld and let go of all that needs to be let go so that she can rise again. Venus has risen, and with this full moon, it's time for you to allow her to rise in your life and in you. Happy full moon. Happy full moon in Libra. Enjoy every moment of it. Enjoy everything that shows up, and know that if it shows up with a sense of discomfort, that it's telling you that it's out of balance and it's time to let go and to embrace a bigger dream of how you want to relate to self. Love you all, sisters. Take care. Happy full moon.